Proposed 14-mile walking trail in Brunswick County is one step closer to becoming a reality. Leaders in Leland will consider a resolution to adopt the feasibility study for the Gullah Geechee Heritage Trail tonight. WECT's Ava Bringor spoke to town council leaders ahead of the meeting to talk about the project. Ava, this has been in the works for years.
Yeah, that's right, Fran. The idea is to amplify the history of the Gullah Geechee, who are descendants of slaves who worked at the rice and peanut plantations across the southeast. Parts of Brunswick County are deeply rooted in the Gullah Geechee culture, and that's what makes this trail so special. The idea is you can walk, bike, and even kayak on parts of the Green and Blue Way stretching from Navassa into Leland and then towards Southport. The trail plans to run up against a church that is culturally significant to the Gullah Geechee people and some of the rice plantations they were enslaved on. The Wilmington Metropolitan Planning Organization, who is in charge of the project, plans to show Leland Town Council the completed feasibility study in hopes they'll adopt it. Councilmember Bill McHugh says this is a big step forward for Leland.
This is about, health and enjoyment and honoring the heritage of the region. I mean, this is just probably from a personal standpoint, about the most exciting project I could be involved in.
Now, if the study is adopted tonight, it'll strengthen the chance of getting more funding for the project in the future. Now, we are still years away from the completion of the trail, but the meeting tonight is open to the public at Leland Town Hall, and that starts at 6 o'clock. Ava Bringor, WECT News.